Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. My name is Randy Fouse, affectionately known to some of you as Hanif, and today we are covering our third in a series of foundational classes in Arabic morphology. We said our eventual goal is to get to the 8 verb forms that go beyond the base 3-letter verb form. But we said before we do that, there were a couple of beginning points that we needed to get established before we go right in. What we've looked at so far is that the basis of Arabic is the verb, and we said the word for verb is fi'l, and that based on that word we break the parts of the base verb up by letter according to the letters in the word fi'l, meaning verb, or fa'ala, meaning he did. We said the first letter of any 3-letter base verb we refer to as the fa'ul fi'l, the second letter we refer to as the ainul fi'l, and the third letter we refer to as the lamul fi'l. And we said the significance of that is that when we talk about changes, morphological changes that happen to any verb, that we talk about it in relationship to those 3 letters. We then looked at a couple of awzan. We looked at wazn fa'il, which we said is for the doer of the action of the verb, and we looked at wazn maf'ul, which deals with the receiver of the action of the verb, and we looked at some practical examples of each of those. What we'd like to do next is look at a couple of other verb forms or awzan as well that the verb can change into. All of these, of course, being nouns, or what we would call in Arabic grammar asma. So the next one we want to look at is the wazn mif'al, or excuse me, maf'al or maf'il, which deals with place and time. Wazn maf'al or maf'il. Some common words you would know already in these forms are, for example, masjid, makhbaz, masjid, a place of sajda, if you're going to say it literally. Makhbaz, a place of bread. Khabz or khubz, makhbaz, and so on. So we have maf'al, and again it refers to the place or time that the verb happened. So again we take that base verb form fa'ala and we notice the additions to it. So the first addition, it's similar to the object form but slightly different. We have a meme with a fatha in the beginning, qabla fa'il fi'l. Then we have the fa'il fi'l, like in the object form, still has that sukoon. The ainul fi'l doesn't have a dhamma here. It has a fatha or a kasra, and you'll just have to memorize that. And then we have the lamul fi'l having the tanween on it, which again we will not pronounce if it's the last letter of the word that we're saying. So the first verb that we have is shahida. These are the same verbs that we used before. Shahida mean he witnessed. So a place or a time where something was witnessed, the location where something was witnessed or observed would be, we'll start with the meme with a fatha again. Then we're going to follow that with the fa'ul fi'l, which here is the sheen, which will have a sukoon on it. Here in this instance the ainul fi'l, which is the ha, will have a fatha, and then the lamul fi'l, which is the dal, we have mashhad. So a mashhad is a place where something is witnessed or observed. A mashhad. A mashhad could also be a place where someone is martyred. The word here though being shaheed, which is a term for martyr. But still the same term would be used because it still comes from the same origin. Next we have qatala, which means he killed. And so here we would be trying to make the word that shows the place or the time where someone or when someone was killed. So again, we run the form in the same way. We begin with a meme with a fatha. We follow that with the fa'ul fi'l having a sukoon. We follow that with the ta, the ainul fi'l, which is the ta here. In this instance, it will have a fatha, and then the lamul fi'l, which is actually a lam. So we have maqtal. The maqtal is the place where someone is killed or something is killed. Next we have sa'ala, and with sa'ala I didn't see in the dictionary an actual place or time for this verb, and that's an important point to call to mind here, is that you're not always going to have each and every form for each and every word, and so that's important to know. But what you want to get in the habit of doing is each time you find a three-letter root, you start to play with it and start to think of what could the possible meanings be. Is there an ism fa'il? Is there a ism maf'ul? Is there ism zaman wa makan? Or do those ozan exist for this three-letter verb? It won't always. So we don't have, for example, a place where questions happen. At least I didn't see that in the dictionary. I don't want to give you anything that you couldn't go back to the Hansware dictionary and actually look up. All right. The last one we have here for place and time, we have rafa'a, which means he raised. So again, the place where something is raised, or the time when something is raised, we have mim with a fatha, and then we're going to put a sukoon on the fa'ul fi'l, which here is the ra, and then we're going to put a fatha on the ainul fi'l, which here is the fa, and then we're going to put tanween on the lamul fi'l, which here is the ain. So we get marfa. Now when I looked up marfa in the Hansware dictionary, it mentioned Shrovetide, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is similar to Mardi Gras. Shrovetide is the time that before Ash Wednesday, when Christians would overlook the sins that they've done, consider them, and which sins they're going to ask forgiveness for. Now, how could we connect that with rafa'a, meaning raised? Well, perhaps it was at this time that they hoped their sins would be raised from them. Or maybe they would raise their sins to their conscience to think about them, to ask for forgiveness. And you're going to want to do those types of things where you try to find a connection to help you remember the word and remember the meaning, just in case you find it a bit difficult. But I did have to look that one up in the dictionary. That one wasn't natural for me. Modified Shrovetide. I had to look up actually Shrovetide because, like I said, I didn't know what it meant prior to this lesson. So still with benefits. We mentioned now the noun form or the gerund form, and here we've changed it to fa'alun, the wazn fa'alun, and we've said that it's going to change from verb to verb. Different verbs will have different noun forms, but we're going to do them for the different verbs that we've mentioned. So we have that same fa'ala base. So shahida, shahida, the verb form for that, we have sheen with a fatha, then a ha with a fatha, followed by an alif. Even if I didn't know what harakat was there, because alif is always going to extend the vowel sound, then I know that there has to be a fatha there, even if it's not written. And that's important, because as you develop, you're going to want to learn how to read words without harakat. So those elongations are sometimes indications. That tanween should be on the ta marbuta, but we have shahida and we have shahadatun. You can see the root there. Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah, testifying that none is worthy of worship in truth other than Allah. For qatala, qatala, we have qatlun. So here the form is fa'alun, the same as we've written above. For sa'ala, we have quite a few, but we're going to look at one. We have, that should be a dhamma there, and we have, so it should be on the fa'al fi'l, we have a dhamma. And then again, since that alif is behind there, then even though the hamza is written on a waw, we know that it is a fatha. So it's su'al. Also it can be su'lun or su'latun, all of those, a question or questioning. The last one is rafa'a, and the form we have here is raf'un, same as qatlun. So those you'll just have to memorize. There's no easy way around that. So what we've looked at in this lesson is we've looked at the form for place and time, maf'al and maf'al, and we've looked at the noun form, and we've talked about how those are different. Thank you for tuning in.